I'm going to show you the notes on how to multiply two fractions, like in this example, using a model. So we're going to be using this graphic organizer. It's a step-by-step organizer. And if you're doing this from home, you could just copy this into a regular piece of paper. You just got to basically set it up as this part to the side, and then you could just make your paper divided up into sections like this. So steps 1 through 5, your problem at the top, and then we're going to put our solution at the bottom. So even if you don't have this exact copy, you could just do it in any sheet of paper. You just got to organize it in this format. Step 1, you're going to draw a square. Step 2, you're going to label it. So the dimensions, 1/3 by 2/5. I put it here, 1/3 and 2/5. So that's the sides. This is going to represent 1/3. This side here is going to represent 2/5. Next, you're going to draw the rows and the columns. So it's a 1/3 by 2/5. And if you look at what I put over here on the side, the bottom two numbers are going to tell you how many rows and how many columns you're going to draw. So in this case, I'm going to do 3 rows and 5 columns. And since I put my 1/3 here, I know that my 3 rows is going to be across this way. And since I have my 2/5 here, I know I'm going to split this up into 5 sections going this way. So this is a 3 by 5 grid, 3 across and 5 down. In step 4, you're going to mark and shade this. So when I say mark it, it just lets me know how I'm going to shade it. So here, the top numbers are going to tell me how much you're going to shade for each section. Since I have 3 rows here, I'm going to shade 1 out of those 3. So I'm just going to mark it like that. And then I have 5 columns here. And now you can see here is 2 out of 5 are going to be shaded. So I'm going to mark it here, 2 of them. So it's 1 and 2. So I could tell by the top numbers how much I'm going to shade. And then the last part now, after I mark it, is just to actually shade it. So basically, it's a 1 by 2 grid I'm shading in. I'm shading 1 by 2. And then step 5 is you're going to identify how much you shaded. So in this picture, I shaded 2 boxes. So 2 boxes out of a total of, if you're to count all these boxes, you're going to count a total of 5, 10, 15 boxes total. And that will represent my solution. For the solution, you're going to write down the problem. 1/3 times 2/5 equals, and then you put your answer there, which is 2/15. And then here's the second example. So similar to the first one, we're going to draw a model for 4/5 times 3/4. So you're going to start off by writing the problem at the top, 4/5 by 3/4. In step 1, you're going to draw your square. Step 2, you're going to label the square, so 4/5 by 3/4. Step 3, you're going to draw the rows and columns. So in this step here, remember the bottom numbers. So as I labeled over here, the bottom numbers tells me how many rows, how many columns. So 5 rows, 5 columns, or 5 rows and 4 columns. And since I put the label 4/5 here, I know I'm going to draw 5 rows this way. And I have the label 3/4 here. So I know I'm going to do 4 columns this way. Step 4, we're going to mark and shade it now. So you can see here the top numbers. The top tells you how many you're going to shade. So in this case, we're going to shade 4 out of 5 and 3 out of 4 for this side. So again, we're going to shade 4 out of 5. So I'm going to mark 4 down, and I'm going to mark 3 across. 1, 2, and 3. And by doing this, I know I'm going to basically shade this entire region here. So it's a 4 by 3 grid. So I'm going to shade here and all the way down, including these spots here. And step 5 is going to identify the amount that's shaded. So if I count the boxes that are shaded, 3, 6, 9, 12. I shaded 12 boxes out of a total of 4 by 5. So that's, if I were to count all these out, 5, 10, 15, 20 boxes. So I shaded 12 out of 20, and that represents my answer. And now, for your solution, you just write down the original problem. 4/5 times 3/4 equals, and then you write down your answer, which was 12/20.